Hello students, welcome to COM 535 Risk Communication. We are in week 2 and this week we are covering the idea of evidence-based practice within health communication and promotion campaigns. As we look through some of the ideas in the chapter, first we'll start off with highlighting the week 2 agenda. This week we're reading chapter 7, evidence-based practice. Do make note that the communicating health text that we're using by Corcoran, we read it out of order, and that's on purpose. So do make note of that. We're not going straight through chapters 1 through 10 or anything in that way. They're broken up to align with the course content. We're also watching 2 videos. The first one is put out by the World Health Organization, and it's called Keeping Little Kasiri Safe. This is defining what risk communication is or explaining how risk communication works for children and in other countries. This is a video to watch, a short 2-minute video to help you, because within your midterm we're going to get into this week evaluating health and risk communication campaigns, and then you're actually creating one for your critical assignment. So that's why that's in there when you watch it. And then another one is a video on food safety and risk communication and the useful interactions between those two. You're completing weekly review number 2. It's you have your original post due by Friday and your reply post due on Sunday, as well as selecting your topic for the midterm. When you look at weekly review number 2, you'll see that your original post needs to be no less than 500 words, and your reply posts need to be at least 200 words. It's important that you do start on this early, as it is due no later than Friday. The discussion board prompt comes specifically from the course text. There's a scenario here where you assume and pretend that you are planning a community-based project in a small local neighborhood to try to reduce theft and mugging within the area, which at this time tends to be unusually high. The residents identify poor street lighting and nothing for youths to do and the community as a problem. The local city council proposes community police officers as the solution. There are no randomized control trials. We're going to learn about this extensively within the reading this week, or systematic reviews demonstrating a link between the solutions to the problem. So there's nothing to show that the council's proposal has any evidence-based practice to show that this is a viable solution. In that, it's important to answer the 3 questions listed. What do you think you would do to address the issue? What communication strategies from the course readings can you apply to minimize crime in the area? And what evidence do you base this on according to the course text? So that's the prompt. It'll make a lot more sense if you complete it after watching this video and watching the 2 YouTubes we have this week along with your course reading. And do not forget, your original posts are due on Friday and your replies are due no later than Sunday. Midterm topic selection. That's the next assignment due this week. You'll see the first part of this screen and the first part of this assignment in Blackboard has the actual assignment for the midterm. That's not due this week. It's simply listed there for you to get a good idea of what's expected of you, so then you can select a topic. What you're doing essentially is completing an analysis of some type of health campaign that's recently been utilized in a community, nationwide, worldwide, or in a particular country that you feel is useful. Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign. It was a really effective health communication campaign that utilized risk analysis and risk communication, which is a lot of information from this course, to implement it nationwide. Autism Speaks uses a lot of evidence-based practice to create health initiatives to spread the word about autism. The hashtag Finish It campaign also is very useful. There's a multitude of them out there. You don't have to select one of those 3. Those are just to help get your creative juices flowing. In your analysis, it states what you're going to do to complete that. I'm not going to get into that too extensively. I just want you to know that this week you have to select a campaign that you want to analyze for the midterm. You'll determine if evidence-based practice was utilized and how that was used, as well as the type of communications disseminated to the audience. So how did they disseminate their information? Did they use social media? Did they utilize television, radio, all of those things? There's 4 things you need to do when you select your topic. 1, identify the campaign. So tell me in your answer what the campaign is, what it's about. Then also tell me why you chose it and a rationale, as well as showing me what evidence-based practices there are. If they have websites up or links to social media, include that in there so I can take a look at it if it's one that I may not know about or you're not sure if I know about. Also include any relevant information to the campaign that supports why you want to do this, utilize this campaign, and how it may be useful according to our course and fit within the content of our course. It has to be health related in some way. You can also, if you want to expand beyond that, I am open to the idea if it fits within the idea of risk communication, so it's health related or related to some type of environmental health like fracking or pollution or something like that, that's fine. It has to be tied to a specific communication campaign, meaning a specific way the organization was letting the community know about that particular topic. So for example, if you wanted to do something related to the environment, you could look at Riverside Public Utilities launched a really great campaign in the last couple of years about conserving water for the drought. That would be one that would fit within the content of this course. That's a particular risk to the community and environmental health related risk that involves communication. Just make sure you fit within the 4 ideas for the midterm selection due this week. You need to identify the campaign, provide a rationale, include relevant information that supports why you want to use this campaign, and make sure that it's at least 300 words. I'm going to read through those and give you feedback on that early so you can get back and work on that if there are any issues, should there be. As we look through the course text, it's important to identify and answer the question, what is evidence-based practice in health communication? It's important to know that successful health or environmental health communication campaigns, I use that term loosely there, utilize evidence-based practices. An evidence-based practice really is where we conduct our risk analysis and determine where the issue is or how exposed the community may be, what the risk is of this particular health or environmental concern. There are 4 areas of practice that are utilized within health communication. The first one is that you need to do a systematic review of the research. You then need to do a collation of the evidence. So it's really important that you gather the evidence from that perspective. After that, you need to determine an effective delivery of the evidence-based practice, and then 4th, learn from the effective practice and dissemination of materials. There are 3 specific categories that this fits into that will help explain this further. So to determine what an evidence-based practice is, you need to then categorize it in one of 3 ways. It needs to relate to policy or practice, so some type of practice that attempts to utilize current evidence to make a judgment or decision about an appropriate intervention for some health-related or environmental topic. Then you need to consider evidence-informed policy and practice, a situation where evidence is usually a wide range of this, has been used to inform some type of intervention for the community and something related to the environment or health and things of that nature. Or categorize the evidence as based for public health. This includes a whole catalog of evidence that's available within public health interventions, policies, and practices to be used by practitioners to inform them of their practices. And so that's where that fits in there. As we move forward, let's talk about what types of evidence we're really relating to. The most popular and widely used is randomized control trials, RCTs. This is where you take a sample of your population and you run randomized trials of a particular intervention that could be useful in alleviating this health concern or environmental concern. Not everybody is exposed to this particular concern. Some is what we call a null group, or a group that doesn't know that they're not getting fed that particular medication or that particular being exposed to that particular environmental risk, but they're told that they're participating in the study, and then you evaluate them against those that are exposed to it. Another type of evidence is evidence that warrants scientific fact and can be predicted and has demonstrated success. This is a snapshot of a graphic from the text that tells us that there are 4 types of evidences that we can utilize besides RCTs as effective within a health communication campaign. The first one is that the evidence meets scientific fact criteria. It's replicable, it's proven, it's repeatable over time. It's fit all of the things that we need to come to know within the scientific method or some sort of research guideline. The second one is that evidence that has success can be predicted. And not only that, it can be replicated at the local level in a certain time frame, and only then if the resources or certain settings are available. So when you go back to your weekly review number 2 and you need to determine an effective intervention for recent theft in the area, if you cannot say that the particular cause or the particular solution has been tried out already and it has success and can be predicted, then it's not an evidence-based practice. The third thing is that the evidence that has success but does not meet casualty criteria, meaning it can be repeatable, but it doesn't necessarily show that it's repeatable successfully all the time. And then the fourth one is that evidence that has success and can be predicted. This means that it doesn't really meet points 2 and 3. It can be replicated at the local level in a certain time frame, and then only if the resources are available, but universal application is not necessarily achievable. So you can use one of those 4 points to determine an effective type of evidence practice for any type of health or environmental communication concern. When we need to then take a look at determining the effectiveness of evidence, it's important to know that we need to consider the applicability and transferability of the particular intervention, solution, whatever it may be. Remember, when we're getting into this idea of risk and health communication, especially particularly for the environment and for health-related concerns to the public, it's important to know that the solution to this, so if we go with Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign, she wants to promote healthy eating. She's establishing and telling the nation we have a childhood obesity epidemic, and this is the solution for it. And I have evidence-based practice that shows that this works. That's a health communication campaign. So with that, her evidence-based practice has to show applicability and transferability to the community that she's targeting, or else it's not going to be valid. So to determine effectiveness of the evidence you're utilizing to support your answer to the problem, you need to make sure it fits on this applicability and transferability scale. This is located within the chapter. As you're reading through it, it's very useful. You'll see it really helps with identifying and clearly determining if the evidence that's within a campaign, which may be helpful for your midterm, is actually useful and effective evidence. It's located on page 146 of the course text. So it's simple things. Does the political environment allow this information? Can the contents be tailored to the intervention group? What is the baseline prevalence of the health problem? What's the difference between the study setting and the target setting? Things like that. If you can, when you look at the evidence within a particular health or risk communication or environmental campaign and you see this answer, then you'll be able to look at it and determine if the applicability is there and if transferability is there. And those are the 2 things I'm going to be looking at as you choose your campaign for your midterm. How does the campaign demonstrate effective applicability and transferability to the general public? As we work through the assignments, it's important to know to keep in mind the week 2 agenda. So you're reading chapter 7, you're watching 2 videos including this lecture, as well as completing weekly review number 2 and selecting your midterm topic. If you should have any questions, let me know. I look forward to interacting with you this week and getting your topics in for your midterm. If you're not sure of your topic, do reach out early and often. That way we can get this worked out